Hey guys, welcome. We're going to look at Math 100, Chapter 10, Radicals today, and I am glad you are here. We are just math, y'all, and glad you're joining us. Let's work through some radicals. I uploaded a power sheet for you guys on my math lab, so make sure that you are using it. Um, you should already have a copy of it, but if not, check out and memorize all your powers. It makes life a whole lot easier. So the first thing we need to make sure we do is know our symbolism and know what it means. These little boxes are radicals, and they are different based on the little symbolism. The plain box is a square root. There's an understood 2 in this little thing. It's an understood 2, and it has to do with the square root. It has to do with that 2. This one with the negative in front is a negative square root. Um, all numbers have two square roots, a positive one and a negative one. And so when the symbolism wants the positive one, it is blank. And when the symbolism wants a negative one, it has the negative in front. We also do a symbol that looks like this, that has a positive and a negative on it. But we are not going to talk about that right now, but that is asking for both the positive and the negative square root. But again, that's a square root. Then we have a cube root, which has a little 3 on there, and we have a 6th root here. Now we could also have a 4th root, a 5th root, and so on. So you could have whatever number you need up here, depending on which root you're taking. So now, just to remember the difference between a square and a square root, if we just, a little story here, just kind of help you think it through. If we start with the number, say 3, and that's 3, 1, 2, 3, and we square it, then that means we take this and turn it into a square. And if I turn it into a square, then it's 3 on both sides, and then the square has 9. So 3 raised to the second power is 9. So 3 squared is 9. So that's what square means. So I turned it into a square. Now, square root, we're going back to the root of it. So if I have 9 and I want to know the roots are the little things on the bottom, right, underneath, and the square root would be 3. So the square root of 9 is 3. And so this symbol is square root, and it is related to this one, which is square. But a lot of people get those mixed up, and I just want to be careful that you keep those straight, that we're talking square or square root, and that's where it goes. Now, cube and cube root would be the same. If we were to extend this to a third dimension, we would have a cube here, and not a very good picture, and 3 to the third power, because that would be another dimension. 3 cubed would be 27, and then the cube root of 27 would be 3. Again, the root was 3 at the beginning. And so 3 cubed, and then this would be cubed root. Okay, or just cube root, not necessarily with the D. All right, so make sure that you keep those straight. All right, let's do a couple of examples. Again, use your power sheet. Make sure you have it, because you'll think, where did she get that answer? Where did that come from? How do you know that? And this is where we know this. Okay, so number 1 says list all the square roots of 9. The answer to this is going to be 3 and -3, We just talked about the fact that technically 9 has 2 square roots, everything has 2 square roots, and this is one of the most missed problems on the test. This one is using symbolism, and it's asking half of that question. It wants the negative square root. So this one would be just the -3 because it's asking for the negative square root. This one is a square root of fraction. Well, it's the same. Again, it's asking for the negative, and then the square root of 81 and the square root of 49. Make it down here. Well, the square root of 81 is 9, and the square root of 49 is 7, and it would be negative. Now, again, if you didn't know that, please check your power sheet. You'll see that 9 to the second power is 81, so that means that the square root of 81 is 9. And so these symbols are opposite symbols, and you have to be able to go back and forth. Okay, now this fourth one is asking for the cube root of -8. The cube root of -8 is going to be -2. Now, why is that? Well, because -2 raised to the third power is 8, -8, and we reverse it. The cube root of -8 takes me back to -2. So again, it's a reversal type thing. So there's those examples. Now, some numbers don't have perfect square roots. Some numbers are decimals. They don't have a perfect square root. And so we have to think about what those are. These are numbers that are not on our power sheet. Okay, so 82 is not on my power sheet. This 82 is between the square root of 100 and the square root of 81. And so the square root of 82 would have to be between 9 and 10. And if you used a calculator, you could get an approximation for it. But your problem on your homework is just going to ask you to put the 9 and 10 because those are the two integers that the root lies between. So we have 9 and 10. Okay, we'll stop here and upload this video, and we'll